everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. See, look at us being consistent.
For once.
Yeah, we've stuck to
although
it.
next week might be a issue.
Yeah, but that's because we're actually putting an effort for it, though.
Yeah, we're going on the ground.
Yeah, we're
ground,
actually going to the place.
Like Pulitzer level journalism.
Yeah, so
I'll also have a new haircut by then.
hopefully.
Yeah. This will finally be sorted out.
So on today's episode of our podcast, sticking to the historical theme, but this one is also a bit of an unsolved mystery, and if you guys have followed me on TikTok for any length of time, you'll know that I am huge on unsolved mysteries, true crime, all that stuff. So this one do you mind?
Sorry. Having a bit of my unspecified brand of lemon and lime drink.
Yeah, this one was really fun to research. And if you've read the title, you know that we're talking about the Green Children of Woolpit. Now, Tobias, have you ever heard of this one before?
I know this, and as any middle Gen Z person would know this from, I know it exclusively from Horrible Histories on CBBC.
Really? I didn't realise it got mentioned on there.
Everything is mentioned on there. The goat.
Do you know what?
Those who know.
All things considered, I was never actually that big into Horrible Histories.
It's the only reason I watch CBBC.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
I watched Nickelodeon and Disney apart from Horrible Histories.
Yeah, I think I might have just
Shot in the Sheep
cringe.
actually was a fucking riot as well.
Yeah, that is very fair. So, without further ado, let's just get into the story of the Green Children of Woolpit. If you're unfamiliar, buckle in. It's a bit of a wild one. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah and no. Yeah and no.
From the context of a middle-aged peasant who doesn't even really know what the concept of their country is. Yeah.
So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So for this story, we actually have to go all the way back to 12th century England, which is, for those of you that are unfamiliar, and I'm only saying this because I do this, 12th century, I would think 12, 10, not 11.
Yeah, because it starts with the first century as
so
when Christ is born.
Yeah.
To 99, and then the second is 100 onwards. So when
take
you realise that, it gets quite
easy. Add a number, isn't it?
Yeah, you just take one.
Yeah, we're in the 21st century now because we're in 2020s.
You just take 100 off.
Yeah, there you go. So just clarifying that because I didn't know that and I'm stupid. So, and we have to go to the small town of Woolpit, which is in Suffolk, England. Have you ever been to Suffolk?
Been around those ends.
No, I don't.
I think I might have went to a nice sausage and mash place when I went to visit my mother's family.
Okay.
Do we know if it still exists anymore?
I think so. Yeah, it was called Woolpit back in the day.
Oh right, I just didn't know if it'd been eaten up.
Yeah,
this is still the top of the line research we do at the
still
Dollhouse
Woolpit.
Gang.
The years vary on when this actually took place because it was so long ago. It kind of gets mistranslated.
Yeah, it was so long ago, and it wasn't. It wasn't the coronation of a king or
exactly.
a battle. It's not something that everyone and their mum wrote about in an area.
Yeah, but it's believed that this took place either between 1135 or 1154, which is not that significant when you think about how long ago it was. It doesn't really matter when it was. It was in the 12th century. That's all you really need to know.
In the middle of nowhere in England.
Yeah. And this story, I say story with finger quotes, this tale perhaps was mainly written up by two writers. One that was named Ralph of Cogshall and William of Newbury, and they both reported on this sudden and unexplained arrival of two children in the village of Woolpit. It's important to note, whilst I was reading this, a lot of people sort of thought, had they compared notes to get a similar story? Were they in on it?
Or
were
they
doing it?
Hear it?
Were they doing it for the love of the game? But a literary scholar does not believe that William or Ralph had seen each other's sort of scripts when they told the story of the children of Woolpit. So,
which had some credence to it.
Yeah, which means that this is probably somewhat mostly a true story. It's hard to tell with history, but this one in particular is you're going to see why people questioned it because it is genuinely
batshit.
Yeah, it's really, really
makes
confusing.
No sense.
So one day, the villagers of Woolpit came across two children near a wolf pit, which was on the outside sort of skirts of the village, just to make that really confusing.
Because we used to just have them.
Yeah, apparently so. And they were a boy and a girl, and it's believed that they were both siblings. Now, these children were very unusual in appearance. They both had green skin and spoke an unknown language that no one was able to recognise or translate, and they wore strange clothing. Now, I don't know what qualifies as strange clothing for the 12th century, but it must have been pretty interesting for them to
Colourful,
pick out on.
Maybe,
because you could probably walk around wearing a potato sack in the day, and everyone would,
the generic.
and everyone would think that's acceptable. So the fact that that got picked up on is interesting. But I think we're missing the most important thing there: the green skin and the unknown language. What's the first thing that comes to your head? An alien, right? Right. So, according to the reports, these children were taken into the care of a man named Richard de Calne, and for several days, these children were very frightened, they were really nervous, and they refused all food, apart from when someone came over with some broad beans in a basket, which they absolutely, scrammed straight away, and that was the only thing that they would, eat. Again, adding to the alien theory, because fair enough.
Because, they must have been getting offered anything.
Real though.
Like wheat, bread.
Yeah, all sorts.
They must have been getting offered real food.
Again, though, if someone offered me a basket full of peas back in the day, I would have handfuls.
Yeah, but for those listening at home, Lucy has a horrible garden peas addiction. There was a point where she wasn't feeling well, so all she ate was gravy and peas in a bowl.
I didn't even have gravy in it, I don't think.
I thought you did, because
I just
looked at it, it was just brownness in the
I could literally be addicted to crack, and you're complaining that I have an addiction to garden peas.
Any Americans at home who hate British cooking and have those stereotypical thoughts, that's exactly what it looked like.
No, it didn't. It was a nice meal for my ailing stomach.
I was having a lovely homemade pie at the same time
as
well.
That I spent all day cooking, by the way. I felt that unwell I couldn't even eat my pie. But I'm just saying, I get it. I get the green bean hype. I love green veg. But eventually, after a couple of years, it took weeks.
They've been here for a while.
Misspoke there, but it took weeks for them to finally start trying new foods. And apparently the children became really akin to bread. They really liked bread, which is fair enough. Yeah.
Love bread.
And it was after they started to eat more normal foods and they started to learn English that their green colour ended up fading and they started turning back to normal human skin colour, I guess, rather than green. And the children were planned to be baptised, but unfortunately it's the 12th century. The young boy ends up dying before that's happened from an illness. Literally anything back in the day could take you out. So
it's the 12th century. They're not going to know what it is.
It's not really a
They're still believing four humours and shit. So
yeah. The girl, however, would go on to lead a pretty normal and successful life and became pretty good at English. She began to speak really fluent in English. And what she had to say about where she came from and why she ended up there was batshit insane. So upon further questioning, she said that, quote, her country was Christian and had churches, but otherwise quite different from England. According to people that were close to the girl referred to her home as St. Martin's Land, and everything and everyone there was green. The children were unable to account for their arrival in Woolpit. They'd apparently been herding their father's cattle when they heard a loud noise and came across a cave. And it was when they went through this cave, they followed the light and came out in Woolpit.
Which is in Artemis Fowl, where the elves live underground. That's the type of shit this lady's coming up with.
Yeah. But the girl would actually go on to marry a man named Richard, completely different Richard to the one from before. And
it's 12th century, there's 8 names.
Yeah. And was given the name Agnes, where she would actually later go on to bear a child as well. So
definitely healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a full member of society now at this point, as compared to a long deceased brother.
Yeah, the ages of the children was still unknown when they were found, so there's no thing saying whether all that was known is that the boy was believed to be the younger of the two, so maybe they were
that was probably just a visual thing, I imagine.
Maybe they were 6 and 4 or 8 and 7. It doesn't really say. We can just sort of estimate how old they were. So as you can imagine, this tale of the green children turning up in Woolpit became somewhat of a common folklore tale, with the children being described as fairies as well. That was another one which I think is a lot nicer than the alien explanation.
I mean, the alien explanation, that's probably more of a modern bias looking back on this. Like, you know, they don't know fucking green aliens were, you know. They didn't have that, like, 1950s sci-fi stereotype.
Yeah, and they were some sort of creatures visiting the human world. Now, a historian named Geoffrey Jerome Cohen believes that the story symbolises the struggle between different ethnic groups in England during the Middle Ages. However, despite this, there actually could be some genuine truth to this tale, as Agnes does actually show up in historical records as being listed as the wife of Richard Barr. So Richard Barr was a real person. There is genuine, like,
concrete evidence
of this Richard,
life,
of her husband being a real person. And he had a wife that was called Agnes. So that could be the same Agnes, you know? Historians suggest that the children weren't in fact aliens and they weren't speaking some sort of gibberish language.
Shock horror.
Yeah, shock horror. They were speaking Flemish. Now, if you don't know what Flemish is, it's
like a dialect in Belgium.
Yeah, so...
Because Belgium's not like a real country in the way it has like a national identity. It's like split up.
And around this time, there was actually several waves of Flemish immigration to England. So that could sort of explain where they came from. So the first came in 1066 with William the Conqueror's invasion, and William's queen was Matilda of Flanders. William's queen was Matilda of Flanders, and in the 12th century, more Flemish migrants arrived, fleeing environmental disasters and overpopulations, and Henry
they were getting, like, money as well.
Yeah,
They were getting, like, positions of power and shit.
Yeah.
That's why the English language developed into what it is today.
And Henry I originally welcomed them into England and was like, yeah, come on over, as we've seen many times throughout history. Not like it is today, where the government are so adamant to fight to not have people coming into this country.
Maybe if Labour turn a bit more right, they'll get more votes.
Yeah,
instead of alienating everyone and everything who would vote for them.
And they were gifted land in Pembrokeshire. Where's Pembrokeshire?
South Wales. It's where Henry VII was from.
There you go.
Yeah. It's the only thing I know about that. I'm pretty sure it's like empty. Like it's mostly wilderness.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Might be north actually. It's definitely where Henry VII's from though.
And from there, all these people, these Flemish, what would be the right thing to call them?
The Flemish.
The Flemish, yeah. The Flemish would spread out through England. However, as you can imagine, the good fortune did not last with the king and the people ruling the country, as it always does.
It's
History
the 12th
repeats
century,
itself,
the most like volatile.
And Henry II started persecuting the Flemish in 1154, believing that they impeded English trade. And if the green children of Woolpit were actually Flemish immigrants on the run, and they had, fled into a forest near where they were found, it may have seemed like, that was another thing that they said as well, which I thought I mentioned, but I hadn't. The girl had also said that the sun never shone and that everything was like a twilight.
So it was dark.
Yeah, so if the little girl was like in the forest or in the woods, maybe that's why she mentioned twilight, because it's really thick and she couldn't really see much.
Because it's an ancient forest. Yeah, we don't have much of them anymore, but they were fucking dense back then.
Yeah, and that means, the villagers of Woolpit said that they were speaking gibberish when really they weren't.
Speaking a language they don't know.
Yeah, they were just speaking a different
it's like
language.
if you threw like a French person into Mongolia, they're going to have no idea what's going on.
Or they might have actually been speaking Dutch as well. That was another language that was mentioned. They may have also entered, another thing that people were trying to explain was the cave, where the little girl said that they'd sort of come through a cave. It was theorised that they may have entered through one of the many underground mine passages in the area, which finally led them to Woolpit. And, them being dressed in strange Flemish clothes and speaking another language, the children would have presented a very strange spectacle to the people of Woolpit.
Because once again, this isn't London or Bristol or any of the larger populations. This is the middle of nowhere.
Of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah, they're going to have no interaction with the wider world.
Very small village, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was possible that maybe their parents had been harmed or, had come to experience harm. They'd been killed when all of them were being persecuted, or they could have been abandoned.
We messed that up there, didn't we?
Yeah, and they've ended up in this, forest, and they were scared, and maybe it felt like they could have been there for a while,
Yeah, but you've also the children, so they have probably messed up perception of time as well.
And when you're a kid, like when you experience trauma, things get like
muddled up in your mind.
Yeah, messed up, and you forget things, and
very much like you're doing now.
Yeah, hey. But that's all well and good, sort of explaining where they came from, but why the fuck were they green? Children, why are you green? Jesse, why are you blue? But children, why are you green? And the explanation for this skin colour could have had many different explanations. For example, certain blood disorders can actually change the colour of your skin.
Like jaundice. Obviously, that's yellow. But,
jaundice can change it to yellow, and other blood disorders can turn your skin blue, or like give it like a blue tinge. Usually, if you've been exposed to like metals, they can change your skin colour as well.
Copper does it, doesn't it?
I think, yeah.
Because obviously that goes green when it's oxidised. Well, bluey green. Like the Statue of Liberty, that's why it's green.
I feel like you've told me this before, but every time you tell me, it's still really shocking.
It was a gift from the French, and it was made of copper, but obviously...
So it's mouldy?
It's in a harbour. Well, it's not mouldy, it's just rusted.
I wonder what would happen to it if they de-rusted it. Do you think they'd turn all the merch bronze? Well, they just wouldn't, would they? They wouldn't put the time and effort in to do that.
Opposite, you know what I mean? They've got other things going on.
Yeah, I guess so. So another theory was that maybe the children suffered from a genetic mutation or were exposed to copper. See, funny you said that. And that would also explain being in a cave mines, So if the children only ate beans as well, that's another thing.
The diet was shit.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboy diet,
Yeah, living off the earth, I guess. They may have suffered from a vitamin and mineral deficiency that could have turned their skin green. So, I guess that makes sense. But researchers suggest that they had hypochronic anemia, also known as chlorosis. I think I said that right, which is a vitamin B6 deficiency that can create a greenish tint to the skin. Chlorosis is caused by a very poor diet that affects the colour of the red blood cells, and that results in changing the colour of the skin. Because if you notice, if you look in your hands, your veins are already green.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is that because the blood's not oxygenated or something?
No, well, I think that's the myth. I don't think that is the reason.
No, your blood's not green.
No, because blue blood isn't oxygenated, is it? That's why it's blue, but I think that's not why it looks like. Cause obviously, you can see it, so it's got some outside influence. I don't know why it is. There's any biologists in the
maybe we should Google that
in the office.
Should we Google that on
camera
on the pod right now? I don't know where I've put my phone. Right, go on. I want you to Google why.
Siri, why are our veins blue? I was really hoping she read that out for everyone at home, but unfortunately,
did you not read it out?
No, I'm gonna have to just open this. Sorry, this has really messed up my plan.
No, it's all right.
Why are veins blue? Usually blue veins are nothing to worry about, but they can be a sign of... That is actually blacked out, the word that is there.
Vein disease.
Vein disease.
And that's why you have glasses.
Yeah. What causes my veins to look blue? Arteries and veins carry red blood around your body, so why are veins blue? There's a simple answer to that. Veins look blue because of the way our eyes process light waves and colour. When red light hits your skin, its longer wavelengths reach deep... I really can't read, I'm so sorry. Deep into where your veins are located. The red blood in veins absorbs the light. Blue light doesn't travel as deep as red light does due to its shorter wavelengths. This means it's deflected from the skin. Our eyes catch that deflection and process the colour blue. Thus, the veins look blue instead of red.
That's not a simple answer, though, is it?
No, it makes sense. You know, like physics, like the light spectrum, it can't travel through your arm.
Physics. Was like my least favourite science.
Yeah, me and Miss Bowles fucking hated each other in physics. Actually, it was really bad.
Yeah, that was not a simple answer, but yeah,
thank you. I think it's a. I think it was a Swiss website, and so I couldn't read it. It said Geneva in it anyway.
So yeah, that was that. I don't know why I googled that, but that was not my theory. Was it? We're talking about green shade of the skin. I said, why are our veins green? Maybe they just looked green.
Yeah, maybe it didn't travel. Maybe the light didn't travel out the skin.
Maybe they were just really, really pale.
Yeah.
You know, that can make you look a bit greeny sometimes.
A bit blue, can't it?
Yeah. In support of this theory as well, the fact that the girl sort of returned to a normal colour when she started to eat actual foods rather than beans could
Really,
account for that.
Yeah, or maybe she had a scrub as well.
Yeah.
So all of these copper and everything, and she was no longer near it.
But another theory was that they could have possibly been poisoned with arsenic and left to die, which can
by
also
the troops or something, whoever.
which can also explain a green tinge in the skin. But obviously they survived. The poisoning didn't work.
The son didn't. He only did for a couple of weeks. I mean, obviously arsenic's way more quick than a couple of weeks. But
yeah, true. Nah, I think he'd have died like straight away. It's
within a day, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it passes out your body, doesn't it? Which is why you can eat as much fish over the course of a week, but you couldn't eat the same amount of fish in one day.
God, do we know about you two? Oh, we love our tinned fish. Don't get us started.
I do love
that tinned fish review guy on TikTok. He's like,
oh, the one with the dog.
The one with the awesome dog. Yeah, he's like top 3 people in this country, I'd say. Right, I'd probably trust him with the country right now. Yeah.
So the question remains: were the aliens?
No, probably not.
Other commentators on this, story have theorized that the children were aliens. Some claim that the children's green skin, strange clothes, and unintelligible language were a sure sign that they came from out of space. Now, of course, back in the 12th century, space wasn't known, was it? It wasn't really...
I mean, the Catholic Church didn't like you talking about it, but the Romans
in the 12th
and the
century,
Greeks...
Yeah, the Romans in space.
Everyone believes in space. The Romans and Greeks knew about it. Egypt worshipped like the stars and shit. The pyramids are perfectly aligned to the stars.
Oh, okay.
But obviously the Catholic Church fucking hated all that shit.
Yeah,
that's why Galileo got. It was actually a big medicine belief. Was it the alignment of like an astrology type thing, like the alignment of the planets would mess you up.
But this, like I said, because in the 12th century, maybe they believed in space. I mean, aliens weren't really.
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing until
they're so in the mind of God's creation, aren't they? So they would be thinking, why would God created us in our image? Why would anything else exist? Yeah.
So this theory was first put forward in the 17th century, and when a guy called Robert Burton suggested in his 1621 book, quote, The Anatomy of Melancholy, that the green children of Woolpit, quote, fell from heaven, leading for others to speculate that the children may have been extraterrestrials. So it was literally just a random theory put out by some random guy.
And like the 1600s, this is when I can't remember exactly when Galileo was about, but this is when Isaac Newton was about doing all this shit. So this is when people were kind of getting a bit too excited about space. So this guy was probably just like, oh, maybe they're from space, maybe they fell from space.
They fell from the sky.
Oh, no, I think he just got excited. I think they were finally realizing that the universe is cool.
Yeah, but here's another kicker as well. This is in a 1966 article, so jumping 30 years ago, right?
We were almost at the moon at this point.
Yeah. No, 1996. Sorry.
Oh, so we're sorry, what?
Yeah, 1996. Literally
we give up on the moon at that point.
Yeah. And an article was published in the magazine Analog by astronomer Duncan Loonan, and he hypothesized that the children were accidentally transported to Woolpit from their extraterrestrial home planet.
So, accidentally end up in Suffolk.
Yeah, Suffolk of all places. Which may have, this extraterrestrial planet may have been trapped in synchronous orbit around its sun, presenting the conditions for life only in a narrow twilight zone between a fiery hot sun surface and a frozen dark side.
So just like Earth.
Yeah.
They could have just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, there's also people that say the children of Woolpit never existed at all. That it's just a big old myth.
Legend made to... Well, it's not even made to scare children,
no, just
in the way that,
legend.
Krampus and other European tales are. It's just...
a random
some guy
story.
got
Maybe they
balls.
were like off the tits on like mushrooms, drugs in the water.
Unfermented beer or something.
Maybe it was mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Maybe they all made up this story about green children because of the poisoned water.
And how fucking boring it probably would have been to live in Suffolk in the 1200s.
Yeah.
1100s, rather.
Yeah. But to William of Newburgh, if you remember from the beginning of this story, the guy that chronologicalized the story and, wrote about it, claims that that is absolutely not true. He is completely adamant that these children existed. He swears by it. Well, swore by it, I guess. That was like 100 years ago. And he wrote, quote, "Let everyone say as he pleases and reason on such matters according to his abilities. I feel no regret at having recorded an event so prodigious and miraculous." Wow, I can't read.
Yeah, I'm tired and I'm
but you get what I'm trying to say. he fully swore by
probably
it.
throw hands, you know what I mean? Like,
and there was
like the
that
Buzz
other guy.
Aldrin shit, like he'd throw hands if you did like this.
And there was the guy as well, William. No, the other guy. He was called Ralph, I think. Yeah, he was called Ralph. And he also swore by it. And one of them, like, actually lived in Suffolk and the other one lived, like, a little bit further away. I think it was, like, 60 miles away, but he'd heard, like, tales of the Green Children and he decided to write it down. And they somehow got it, like,
pretty similar,
yeah. Yeah, spot on. But was it real? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was real.
Do you?
I like to have optimism, you know what I mean? This stuff's fun.
I don't know.
The world's fun. Not fucking aliens, I can tell you that much.
No, I don't think they're aliens, but like...
But I can imagine it's exaggerated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Maybe they were like a bit green.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't like... I can't even think of a green alien. They weren't like... They were like the Hulk, you know what I mean? They weren't bright green monstrosities.
It is said that they weren't like super green. No. They were like a tint of green, like they just looked
which
a bit...
really... like, fucking hell, I have to cut this. Which really supports the vitamin deficiency.
Yeah.
Because anytime you have that, like jaundice, like you're a bit yellow, but you're not Homer green. Simpson, are you?
Yeah. Theories and people, speculate that the tale is based on a very real but possibly garbled event involving Flemish orphans or refugees around 1150, though it's, fantasy elements like the green skin and St. Martian's land, which they could have believed actually belonged to the saint himself, like... Maybe they'd heard about it in church. Yeah. Maybe they heard about it in church and they were worshipping this saint and maybe that's how it got.
Maybe he was like the patron saint of the diocese or something.
And maybe that's how it got in their heads because they were kids at the time. Kids know.
Kids under the strict rule of the Middle Ages Catholic Church,
Yeah. Leads more, but I guess it does lean more into the folklore side of it, with theories suggesting that anemia, trauma, symbolism, or things of that nature, but there's no definite proof of these children existing other than what other people have said, which is like the majority of historical things, really, isn't it?
Yeah, especially like niche historical things like this.
Yeah, it's all based on like accounts from people rather than evidence.
Because what else would we go off? You know what I mean? We only have 2 people writing about it.
Yeah, so. I mean, cameras aren't a thing. People can't document things.
It's not in an official library or archive that, we know is secure and reputable.
This story has also been used to fuel theories surrounding Agatha. Now, have you heard of Agatha before?
I probably on like TikTok or something.
Yeah, it was a huge thing on TikTok and it was all fun and games until people started to say that like people with like blonde hair, blue eyes came from Agatha and you had to be like eugenic. It
always falls back to eugenics.
Yeah, eugenicking Agatha, like that's insane. But for those of you that don't know, Agatha is the theory that there is human life in the centre of the earth, which is absolutely not true. The only thing inside of the earth is a burning hot core. Not gonna burst anyone's bubble, but also to burst your bubble, it's not real. But this community of people on TikTok and online really do believe this theory, and they were, using this to say that this is where these children had come from. They'd come from the centre of the earth, which is why they followed the light out of the cave.
Why it was dark and there was no light.
And all that bullshit. Yeah. But some historians also theorise that the story was an allegory for Britons, an indigenous group who lived on the land before the Anglo-Saxons dominated it.
Yeah, they were the ones the Romans had to deal with.
Yeah.
Hence the name, Britannia.
But other than that, the rest of the story is up to you guys. What do you think? Yeah. Was it real?
Let us know.
Was it real? Was it made up? Do you have any other theories?
Do you have any evidence?
Any evidence? Anything? Maybe we should take a trip. No, we shouldn't. Suffolk. There's fuck all in Suffolk,
ages
mate.
Away, yeah.
Where is Suffolk?
South, near London. We're actually going down there soon, but...
No, I don't like southern people. No, I
What
can't
about-
leave
what
that
about
in the
my mother?
podcast.
What about my mother?
I don't like going down south.
I do.
Your mother is the only southerner I actually love.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Very welcome. But unfortunately, that is all the information I have for this podcast episode. It's a little bit shorter than the other one because there's genuinely not that much information on it because
And you've been breaking your back writing scripts recently because we're going away.
we're going away. So I have to crank out this script and now I have to crank out I have to edit out a YouTube video for next week while we're away. I've had TikToks to film. That's right. Shameless plug. Guess who's working on TikTok again? Me. Go and check it out. I've started a new series. It's going pretty well so far. So, yeah, thanks for the support on that one. But do you have any final thoughts to add?
Not really, no.
No, I don't think I do either. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any video or podcast ideas, please leave them down below in the comments. And if you have any requests for my actual YouTube channel, then DM me over on Instagram. The links are down below in the description. Are we adding your Instagram in that yet?
We'll get the ball rolling.
We'll get the ball rolling. But down below is my link tree to my Instagram, TikTok, other YouTube channel. I was going to say the podcast, but
We're here.
We're here.
Hopefully you know about that.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. I'm repeating myself. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast, and we will hopefully see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.